Good morning and welcome to the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living, to our wonderful September service where we're so glad to have you join us, whether you are here with us on Zoom or whether you are watching from social media. As always, this service will be recorded. It's used on social media to build our community and to serve those who are not able to attend in person on Zoom. You're welcome to turn off your video or change your username. All of our announcements most of them will be shared later in the service. You can always check them out on our website at saccsl.org. And we have classes and events, we have services, of course, and we have opportunities. And as always, you can donate through that portal. Today, we are excited to announce that what our outreach committee is working on right now is supporting the Sacramento Children's Receiving Home. And I'd like to share with you Anne, who is going to present for us on this and introduce a couple of people who can give you details. Welcome, Anne.
Thank you and good morning. Staff members Ramona and Danielle are here to tell us how our donations today can tell us how that will benefit our families, their families that they serve. So welcome Danielle and Ramona from the Children's Receiving Home of Sacramento.
Thank you so much, Anne and Reverend Debbie.
Hello, thank you so much for inviting us. It's a pleasure to talk to you guys.
Yes, it is wonderful to be here. Thank you. It's such a unique experience to communicate to folks this way. So thank you for opening up your service to help benefit our youth. We serve children both in the foster care system and also youth who are residing at home but are in need of our residential treatment program and our one-on-one mental health care with our clinicians and case managers. We offer 24-hour residential treatment at our, we have a 6-acre campus there on the corner of Watt and Auburn. And we've been there since 1964. Prior to that, we were in a few different locations. We've been around since 1944, serving dependent youth for Sacramento County and other surrounding counties. We serve the whole spectrum of Northern California. So while the kids stay with us, they go to and from their usual school. We drive them to school now that school is actually back in session. We do all kinds of activities. We do field trips. We try to give them, as much of a childhood, as much normalcy as possible. And we have beds for, our campus can accommodate up to 90 children at any time. Over the last year, 18 months, we've really seen a lower occupancy than we had in years past. And we know that there's probably going to be a surge coming of children in need now that kids are back to school and seeing doctors and seeing people who are trained to report signs of abuse and neglect. So we're ramping up, we're training our staff, we're preparing and getting ready for another unique holiday season. So Ramona's going to share a little bit more about all of the great ways that you can help.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that our staff use to help our kids. For example, all our programs use art therapy. So we need a lot of canvases, acrylic paints, for example. Some other things that are overseen are our hygiene products, toothpaste, shampoo, black hair products, for example, as well. Some of the funds may go towards our kids' nutritional meals, for example, and our kids are currently working on their garden therapy. So we're hoping to get more seeds involved so they could plant their fall crops, winter crops, and hopefully spring crops as well. So there's many ways you could help, either hosting a drive, for example. The more flexibility we do recommend is cash or gift cards to help our kids. But if you want to focus on more items that the kids need, I would say acrylic paints, art supplies to focus on our art therapy, and as well hygiene products, just to name a few. But there's a lot of ways that you could help.
So what kind of gift cards?
I would say like maybe Target gift cards, for example, give us a little bit more flexibility since they do offer a lot of products. Like if they need hygiene products, they could also get toys. If they follow their program, they are allowed to go shopping and get supplies for themselves, get clothing they may need, shoes. Walmart, I would recommend as well, but we're open to all types of gift cards.
And we are always looking for outing gift certificates to places like Scandia, Golfland, Sunsplash, things that we can actually take the kids to. If anyone has access to Sacramento Kings tickets, that's always a big hit. So we are pretty much, we can accommodate just about any dates of any of those sorts of events. We're always looking to get out of campus.
So this is super helpful. Does anyone else have a quick question for this team before we move into our service? I know Ann does too. Ann, go ahead.
I just remember seeing on our flyer that you can go to your wish list on Amazon or Target. And if you wish to pick up items that you see that the kids may need, that's also a fun way to enjoy a little shopping yourself that will benefit the kids.
And we're collecting items at Reverend Patricia's next weekend, right? On the 25th?
Yes, exactly. We're going to meet from 11:30 to 1. So it will be fellowship and a fun time to get together for us as well.
So if you want to see real people and also benefit the Children's Receiving Home of Sacramento, September 25th is the day that we are getting together. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Danielle and Ramona.
Thank you. It was lovely to be here.
Yes, thank you for having us. We do appreciate it.
Thank you. Before we go any further, I want to introduce myself. I am Reverend Debbie Putnam, and I'm still enjoying saying those words because, as most of you know, I got my ministerial certificate in early August. So I am Reverend Debbie Putnam, and I'm also the lead practitioner for the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living. And I'm just grateful to everyone. I feel as though this whole journey has been so supported by the blessings of all of you. If everyone could unmute and greet each other. Unmute,
Good
unmute.
morning, everyone.
Morning.
Say good morning, good morning.
Hey.
Love, namaste.
Hey, there's Reverend Sharon Dunn.
Oh, look, I see Corey. There's everybody. Okay. And now if you would all mute. Oh, hi, Delane. Okay, time. Now everybody mute yourselves again. And we will move into the heart of the service. There is only one presence, one power, one wholeness, one grace and ease and well-being. It is the whole heartbeat of the universe. It is all that is. The infinite presence and power are all that is, and they are all that I am, and all that each and every person who is involved in this service in any way is. Each person one with the infinite, each person filled with the power of the divine. And in particular today, I speak my word for Reverend Sharon Dunn, as she speaks to us with words of intelligence, focus, and grace, as our hearts are open, our minds are open to know and receive exactly that which is ours to know. There is this incredible communication and uplift happening today. This uplift happens for Reverend Sharon, for the board of directors who are meeting after this service, and for each and every person involved. And I am so grateful for this. The music, Doug's poetry, my own role, all of it. The Children's Receiving Home. There is this grace unfolding now. It is true. It is happening. I give thanks for answered prayer, and so it is. And now for our readings. Infinity fills all molds and always flows into new and larger molds. Within us is the possibility of unlimited experiences. It is our privilege to give birth to them. The way we live our lives is our prayer. Our beliefs and conceptions drive our lives. At the level of being, one recognizes that all suffering is illusory. Suffering is due solely to identification with form. And now I'd like to introduce two people. First of all, I will introduce Reverend Sharon Dunn, our senior minister, who will be coming up shortly. Reverend Sharon has been our senior minister for 6 years, I think. And she leads us beautifully and has a master's in consciousness studies, and we always look forward to hearing from her. And right now, I want to introduce our musician poet of the day, our very own Doug Van Workum. Doug has been playing the drum and sharing poetry for many years. He uses poetry as a way to help explore, understand, and heal some of the inner wounding we all received as children, and that we continue to carry into our adult lives. He uses the powerful poetry of Rumi, Hafiz, and many others, and he also writes and shares his own poetry, which is deeply influenced by the science of mind teachings. And just a reminder, if everyone but Doug could mute their audio. And Doug, it is your turn. Welcome.
Thank you, Debbie. Good morning, everyone. The poem I've brought to share this morning is what I call a praise poem. I wrote it about a year ago when I consciously decided to start using praise in my everyday life instead of complaint. In fair disclosure, some days are easier than others. This poem is called I Give Thanks for All That Is Good in My Life, and So It Is, which happens to be the repeating phrase that I use at the end of each of the stanzas in this poem. So this morning, if you feel so moved, please feel free to join in when you hear me say that repeating phrase, I give thanks for all that is good in my life, and so it is. Some old cultures believed that when you woke up in the morning, the first thing you did was sing, or the sun would not rise. How strange that sounds today, but think about it. If we began each day with praise instead of the news, imagine how this could reshape our entire world. So let's start praising together right now by saying, I give thanks for all that's good in my life, and so it is. Saint Augustine said, God has many that the church does not, and the church has many that God does not. Friends, it's not in the pew where we need to kneel. When caught in the deep difficulties of life, let's remember to ask, shall I grow today through suffering or through choice? How we answer that question will impact the rest of our entire lives. Won't you join with me now and say out loud, I give thanks for all that's good in my life, and so it is. A wise person once told me, being truly spiritual means being fully intimate with whatever's in front of you, no matter what. A wise person once told me, being truly spiritual means being fully intimate with whatever's in front of you, no matter what. Praise Spirit. When faced with any challenge now, large or small, I am finally learning to ask, shall I see this as a blessing or as a curse? Please don't join me in my crucifixion. Instead, join me in my resurrection. And then together, let's say, I give thanks for all that's good in my life. And so it is. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke said, if we know how a willow tree is shaped underground, we can see it more clearly above. As our understanding grows deeper, we become more clearly that place where inner and outer meet. The cynic only sees life in parts and complains. The mystic sees life as whole and praises. Choose a new life now and call out with me. I give thanks for all that is good in my life, and so it is. Robert Bly wrote in one of his poems, if you want the magical thing hidden from all others, then you will have to live a life full of exaltation. If you want the magical thing hidden from all others, then you'll have to live a life full of exaltation. Just hearing that line spoken out loud makes me want to say, I give thanks for all that's good in my life, and so it is. Last stanza. I believe if everyone pointed their prayer rugs towards heaven, we'd all be facing each other. When we finally choose to stop living in judgment of ourselves and others, then the war is over. Friends, perhaps the promise of eternity is this. Once you find the center in everything, you will never be alone again. Now, isn't that enough to make anyone say, I give thanks for all that's good in my life? And so it is. Thank you.
And so it is. Thank you, Doug. If we would all turn our prayer rugs towards heaven, we'd be facing each other. That's amazing. Good morning. Good morning. I'm Reverend Sharon Dunn, the Senior Minister at the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living, and I am in Carlsbad, California, coming to you from my grandchildren's house as Tutu, which is what they call me, a Hawaiian name for grandmother or auntie. And my mother was Hawaiian, so that's what I chose. Oh, and the first time I ever heard them say tutu. And I would practice with them. Tutu, tutu. When they finally said it, my heart just melted. And they still melt my heart. So they're off with their other grandmother, Grandma Kate. God bless her. I may have jumped into her arms a little too overzealous this morning as she showed up, but I was really glad to see her. So today we are talking about when the road gets rocky. Kind of hard to talk about when you're in your bliss, isn't it? But I do have some thoughts on the matter. Our theme for September is reaching higher. And it's been a wonderful month of talking about reaching higher. Last time I talked with you, we talked about our comfort zone and what it's like to leap out of our comfort zone, which is where we reach higher. Is that right? Yes. Good morning, Reverend Karina, all the way from Puerto Vallarta. Good to see you. And Kathy, all the way from Kansas. It's good to see everybody. So I'm going to talk about three things, of course. And one is conviction. The second is turn away. And the third is allow. And Ernest Holmes wrote The Purpose of Science of Mind. And I love this quote. The whole purpose of the science of mind is to reconcile the apparent separation of the spiritual world, which must be perfect, with the material world, which appears imperfect. Isn't that wonderful? So we are literally integrating everything we are in this practice. And our principles, which also was authored by our teacher, Reverend Ernest Holmes, Dr. Ernest Holmes. And the one I picked today is, we believe the ultimate goal of life is to be a complete freedom, we say emancipation, from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. So we're talking about conviction first, and when we push past that comfort zone that we talked about, what happens? Sometimes we are faced with obstacles, struggle, confusion. I mean, it's all brand new, right? Everything unlike what we desire has to be moved out of the way. So it shows up for healing, doesn't it? So life can feel uncertain as we first move out of our comfort zone and take that leap of faith. And again, from Ernest Holmes, faith is a very important ingredient for this journey, is it not? He says that faith is within everyone's reach. If we have faith in ourselves, in our neighbors, in the universe, and in God, that faith will illuminate the place where we are. And by the light of that faith, we will be able to see that everything is good. Everything is good, including whatever we're going through. So recognizing the spiritual power we have is something that I talk about every week. I talk about spiritual practice. I talk about quieting the mind, choosing whatever makes you comfortable to connect with the one that is within you, that spark in you that's infinite. So you might like meditation. And I'm not talking about the meditation that you sit in an uncomfortable position and chant for hours and hours, though that could be your absolute desire. That reminds me of when I was at a retreat in ministerial school, and I've probably told this story before, but we were met at 7 o'clock every morning by the dean to meditate. And of course, he is and was a Zen priest, as well as the dean of the Holmes Institute. And he would have us meditating, not for 15 minutes, not for half an hour, but for 3 hours. And I brought the most comfortable chair, those kind that you put in the sack and take to the beach, that holds you like just a warm embrace and you can sit in for hours. I brought one of those, and by 3 hours time, I was very sad to stop. I was sad when the bell went off, because I had finally got to that deep, wonderful place where nothing was happening. Nothing but me communing with the one. I didn't realize I could meditate that long and then be in my bliss. That's when I realized, and it was a great teaching at the time, how wonderful meditation is. And at first you might have to push back that discomfort and that, oh gosh, I gotta get to the grocery store. Oh, is it? My nose itches. Is that a spider on the wall? Squirrel. But after that, it's such a wonderful practice. But there are other practices as well. Prayer and contemplation. I love hiking meditation. Love to hike and meditate. Journaling. I love to journal. That is a place where I start to write and spirit takes over. And I suddenly write something that I didn't know. I didn't know in my conscious mind, but it came from that deep place in me. Well, Doug is shaking his head. Yes. So obviously he's a poet, and all of those things happen for him all the time. And why? Because he says so, because he allows it. He opens to it. That's beautiful. So all kinds of spiritual practices, recognizing the spiritual power we have, the evolutionary process we have gone through in order to transform ourselves into sentient beings in their full power. So this is a practice, and a practice that we really, honestly, get better and better at, easier and easier, and enjoy it more and more. So that's a way to develop conviction. That is an absolute way. So what does it mean to turn away? So pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional, a choice. Didn't you say something like that in your poem? This was Haruki Murakami, a Japanese poet, who wrote, "Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional." And what that means, of course, is obvious. We can be in pain. I think that is something we're not going to get through this life without experiencing, right? But we can choose to suffer alongside that pain. Now this this is not an easy task as we have a body, don't we? We have a human body, and sometimes it's painful, and sometimes that pain overwhelms us. But there is, believe me, also an opportunity to not suffer in that pain. I was asked for prayer. Our ecclesiastic team was asked for prayer for someone who is very tired of suffering and ready to transition from this life into her greatest yet to be. And I felt like and was reminded of Lamaze breathing. Remember when we are giving birth to something, it's not always easy and without pain. However, the breath of God is within us, breathing us, and there is a way to flow with what is actually happening with us, to us, and for us as we experience pain in this life. And so I imagined myself in the divine midwifery of transition, and I just started breathing. I don't know this person in form, but I suddenly connected with this person in spirit and was breathing into the experience of dying, knowing that death itself is the end of suffering in a joyous, wondrous, I'm assuming, occasion. But in the suffering, I was able to offer that support because we are one, and what is known in my mind is known to all. We know this, don't we? So turning away, Ernest Holmes says, do we have enough conviction to turn away from negative conditions and mentally contemplate their opposites? Are you thinking of a time when you were in so much pain or angst or anguish or suffering? Did you know in the moment that if with enough conviction and turning into your faith, you can literally see from that mind's eye another way? Can we turn away from poverty and accept abundance? Can we actually affect the abundance of others? Yes, we can. What is known in my mind is known to all. So I can actually look at any situation, circumstance, and condition and know the truth. And I'm talking about the truth that is true for all, principle, right? Love, light, harmony, peace, joy, prosperity. And I can change what's happening in the world. Can we turn away from illness and believe in health? Have you done that? Have you literally turned away from illness and believed in your wholeness? Can we separate ourselves from unhappiness and accept happiness? I know I can, because I've told the story before of when my husband passed away 3.5 years ago, and I had such deep sorrow. But at the same time, I was experiencing this deep sorrow. I literally allowed and opened to the principle of joy, knowing that principle is always with us. We're never without love, light, harmony, peace, joy. It's just whether or not we are going to tune into it, turn into it, and collapse it into form. Remember, these principles are potential, the waves of potential in quantum physics, and that when we observe them, they collapse into particles, into form. We can create a different reality. We hold multiple truths simultaneously. And I remember the moment where I could actually experience deep, deep sorrow and deep, deep joy at the same time. And that was such a revelation for me. I felt like, well, all these years of spiritual practice are paying off. We're not doing this for no reason. We're doing this because we want the payoff. We want the payoff. We want to know spirit in every single experience in our lives, don't we? We want to know that God is midwifing us through life and transitions and death, and calling us home with open arms and celebration. That spirit is always, always with us. in us? Can we quiet all discord long enough to contemplate harmony? Ooh, how about quieting the discord? How many of you enjoy quieting the discord? And don't you think that having a spiritual practice helps when that's needed? Do we agree to that? And last, do we have the courage to proceed based on this? This is from How to Use the Science of Mind. Do we have the courage? Because do you agree that sometimes life gets pretty scary? You know, it just does. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, aren't we? So the last is allow. And, you know, I started out doing my research this week, and the topic was supported with sermon notes that talked about accept. And I thought, I'm not sure that resonates with me. Acceptance, especially the way it was written. So of course I had to challenge it because I'm who I am, right? And I thought, you know what I really want to talk about is allow. And what is the difference? And I had a lot of, a little emotional there. I had a lot of revelation around the difference between allow and accept. And I think there's some confusion there in the way people use the terms. And I wanted to be really clear, and I wanted to bring that clarity to you. So let's look at accept. Because remember, in Buddhism, you know, we walk the middle way, and we allow what is, we accept what is, and that gives us the opportunity to not be affected, to not have to react to things, to have more peace and joy, right? But really the difference is between allow and accept, it's big, it's big. To accept is to receive. Okay, and I think both have that element. Something's incoming, incoming. But then accept is with consent. Accept is with favor. Accept is with approval. Listen to this. It is to believe in it. And whatever happens is okay. Whereas to allow is to sanction, to invest, to entrust, to grant, to give, to admit, to accord, to afford, or yield, to let one have, to concede, to make allowance for. Do we understand the difference here? One is to say, I believe in it. And the other is to say, it is what it is. It is what it is. I consent to that. It does not mean I believe in it. It does not mean that I look at it with favor or approval. It means that when we are choosing in our spiritual practice to be with principle, correct? To be in principle, to be spiritual translators, to translate what is happening into what is possible, we don't have to accept, do we? Are you with me? If you're with me, you know, shake your head or thumbs up. Is this a revelation for you as well? I think words are very important. You know, I'm always saying that. I can always tell what a person believes by what they say, because remember, words are things backed by first a reaction to something, then an emotion, then a belief, then the word. So we can go all the way back to what we first reacted to, but generally we don't. Generally, the next time that happens, we just go with what we've formed as a belief. So this idea of accept versus allow seems to me to be a very important discernment. Do you agree? So to allow, and I love Mary O'Malley's book, What is in the Way is the Way. We actually used the book in a 30-week class offered by Dr. David Bruner. I highly recommend the book if you haven't read it. What is in the way is the way. This is more of allowing, isn't it? This is not accepting. We don't have to accept because we have spiritual practice and principles to rely on. So yes, the road is rocky and we can use these practices to become present and to embody what? Resilience. Don't you love that? Resilience. And, you know, I always talk about my totem. Remember those blow up clowns? They're weighted on the bottom and you hit them and they fall down and come right back up again and you can punch them again. That is resilience. And I think that should be my middle name because I can tell you right now, I've had enough experiences in my life to dazzle any human being. But I have this special dharma. I have this special theme in my life where I came here to be all that I can be in the presence, in the presence, in the presence. Actually, that's my superpower. My superpower is spirit itself, greeting everything that I am, everything I see, everything I do, everything that's happening. I have my superpower. So I'm going to conclude here because I'm pretty excited about this idea of questioning everything this week with the 2 words. Did you do that? Am I allowing? Am I accepting? I bet it'll change your life. Am I allowing? Am I accepting? And I don't think we stop and actually think about those things, do we? I sometimes accept things that I should not be accepting. That it's almost as if in the 4 kingdoms of consciousness that Reverend Patricia teaches so well, there's this victim consciousness is number 1. And, you know, we move all the way to number 4, which is it's happening as me instead of at, you know, it's happening against me in the first kingdom. And I think sometimes I accept things because I don't know better. I don't know better consciously. But if I stop and think about things, and that's where journaling really helps. If you're having difficulty in some area in your life, can you think of one area in your life you're having a little bit of difficulty in? Raise your hand if you have anything in your life right now that might be a little bit difficult. Oh my God, we're human. Woohoo! How about asking yourself, am I accepting this or am I allowing this? And how much time in spiritual practice am I spending with this difficulty? And next week when we come together, it will not be the same. I promise you that. So the practice of the presence is engaging in formal, disciplined methodologies that quiet the mind, body, and open awareness. It's living in alignment with our science of mind principles, making these principles evident in the way we engage in the present moment, thereby being congruent in thought, word, and behavior. Oh no, not that behavior again, darn. Okay. So I'm asking, do you take heart in the fact that life's bounty surrounds you, embraces you, and supports you? Do you trust in the stormy gales which attempt to uproot beliefs in good? I have to say I do. To be perfectly honest, Sometimes I greet new experiences blindfolded. I let it happen and I'm like, wow, this is awful. And then I think, wow, wait a minute. wait, just one moment. I am that is. I am fully bestowed with the power of the one. The strength of God is in me. The love of God is my heart. The life of God is my life. The abundance of God is for me, for the taking. Oops, I forgot for a moment. I forgot for a moment. And do I dare fling my heart and soul into the cosmic universal unfoldment and say, each day I am transformed into a richer expression? How about this? Do I have the courage to believe that each wave that crashes upon the shores of my soul blesses me? Yee-hoo! Yippee skippy. And yes, can we say this together? Say with me, I am a masterpiece. Let us pray. Good to know God. As we recognize the one, we recognize all that is good. It cannot be any other. There cannot be an opposing force to an infinite power. It cannot be. There's no way to oppose an infinite power that cannot be annihilated. It's logic. And then if we look around to the beauty of this earth and planets and universes, we know that there's something bigger than ourselves creating creation. And I call that the creator. I know that that life then must be my life because it can't create anything outside itself. And look at that masterpiece. I am. And as I turn my prayer rug to heaven, I see each of us as that perfect, complete, and whole spiritual power having a beautiful, wondrous life. And so I declare and claim right now that this prayer, done in mind since the beginning of time, spoken right in this very moment, invites by allowing and accepting my good. I accept my love. I accept my body. I accept my abundance. I accept God's grace in every aspect of my life. And as I do that, then it must then be accepted in the life of each of us. And then we send that acceptance into the world and accept for all of our brothers and sisters from every land, every nation, every country, every belief system, every color, every gender, every orientation, that there is only one perfect, complete, and whole truth for us all. And that uplifts our world, our planet, our Mother Earth. I'm astounded at the feels right here, at the feels that is permeating my soul, my body, my mind. And I carry this with me throughout the week. And my week is blessed already. I know that for each of us. I give thanks for this center that brings a community, a calm unity that calls others to us to learn how we practice the presence, how we uplift our lives, how we allow and accept our good. I love from the deepest part of my soul, and that is the purpose of my life. I accept this prayer as done in mind. I release my word into the law that makes it happen. And please affirm and agree with me as we say, and so it is. Yes. Hallelujah. Shalom.
Hi, everybody. I'm JD Martin.
I'm Jan Garrett.
Welcome to our living room yet again.
Yet again. We're going to do a song for you today that we'd love to have you all sing along on. It's called Living in the Heart of God. And just chime in whenever you feel like it. Here we go. Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God. Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. Morning sun coming through the trees, and the green leaves shimmer in the summer breeze. The songbirds singing to the honeybees. We're living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. After the dazzle of day is done, the moon makes love to the setting sun. The stars come twinkling one by one. We're living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God. Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We sleep in dreams both deep and bright, sailing through the velvet night, refreshing the soul to the spirit's delight. We're living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. Sing along, please. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living in the heart of God. We are living in the heart of God. Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten.
Oh, that's wonderful. And now it's our offering time. And what we're offering is 3 opportunities to give. And one is through PayPal or Square. and you check it out on our website that's shown on your screen. Also, we accept personal checks gratefully, and our address is right there on the screen as well. And thank you, YouTube audience, for your donations. They're so appreciated. And also, you could donate through Amazon, and please put us as your favorite charity to donate to. Thank you. And then we have a abundance affirmation. And if you'll say with me, mute it, abiding by the law of circulation and in heartfelt gratitude, I affirm that I live in a creative and abundant universe that continuously flows in, through, and out as me, expressing as the ever expanding infinite good. And so it is. Namaste. And don't forget our prayer request online, and please go through our website. And we love to pray, and we enjoy hearing back from you all good news from our prayers. And we know that. Thank you. And the latest news from Reverend Debbie Putnam.
Thank you, Margie. It's true. We do love to pray. We don't have too many announcements today because you've already heard about how next Saturday we're collecting donations for the Sacramento Children's Receiving Home, which is super wonderful. And if you're not comfortable with showing up in person, of course, you can reach out, donate online. I'm sure there are many other ways to donate. And we have 2 classes that are in progress and they're full, so we don't have those to announce today either. What we do have is the opportunity twice a month to gather at Reverend Patricia's house on Monday mornings with your craft projects. And people from all reports have just the most wonderful time hanging out, connecting with people who are spiritually like-minded and just have a good time. So please feel free to reach out to Reverend Patricia for the address and location. Wisdom Wednesday is twice a month, and that is this Wednesday. We are hosting a series of visioning for what's next for our community, the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living. And visioning is a deep way to connect with each other and with our inner knowing. I think on this Wednesday, we'll actually be led by Reverend Patricia. And please come and connect with us to knowing the highest and best for our center as we move forth, knowing who and what we are. You already know about that one. And what I would like to share with you today, what we would like to share with you is a gift. I see someone who is actually taking a picture of this affirmation. Feel free to do that. This is a time when it's okay to use your phone and take a picture or write this down. Every step of the way is an extension of my faith. The further I go, the higher I rise. And now for our benediction, followed by our closing song. Even before that, let me remind you, stay with us for fellowship. Fellowship is hanging out. It is not recorded. It is another chance to connect with our community. And now for our benediction. In the continuing awareness that there is only good. This good is the allness of being. It is all that I am and all that we are. It is the acceptance of what is highest and best, as we know that we can use our spiritual tools this week to turn to the truth, to ask in every moment, am I accepting or am I allowing? And what do I want to be doing in this moment? Do I want to accept? Do I want to allow? As we turn to the truth like sunflowers to the light, we are in this knowing of good, this truth that is always present, that is the power of our being. And we move into our week with this knowing, with this grace, this gift of abundance and ease, of knowing that the infinite abundance in every area of life is our abundance right here and right now. In this knowing, I give thanks for answered prayer, and I release this into the ever-present law of the universe that always says yes and makes it so, and so it is.
Peace be with me, peace before me, peace to the right of me, peace behind me, peace to the left of me, peace above me, peace below me, peace within. Peace be with you, peace before you, peace to the right of you, peace behind you, peace to the left of you, peace above you, peace below you, peace within. Peace be with us, peace before us, peace to the right of us, peace behind us, peace to the left of us, peace above us, peace below us, peace within.